Hello and welcome to Driver's Therapy. In today's video, we're going to be talking about what is the best air filter for the Acura NSX. Now what I did is I purchased the three most popular air filters for the NSX. We have the K&N air filter, we have the Honda OEM air filter, and we have the Uni air filter. Now what I did is I actually installed this in the NSX for about 1 to 2 months each of them. And what I was trying to do is I was just trying to get as much information as I can as far as the feel, the sound, and everything else. And we'll go more into depth in that. All right guys, let's go ahead and kick off with the K&N air filter. All right, let's jump into the K&N air filter. Now guys, we don't want to clickbait you. You saw that negative 25% on the thumbnail, and let me tell you why. So Elise, because I'm not good at math, she did the math on this. And if you look at the design of the air filter for the air box in the NSX, what we did is we actually measured the area that the K&N filter is missing. Now look at this, guys. And I don't want to, say something in certainty, but I think the K&N manufacturer just kind of got lazy and just put an insert there and moved on, because look how much area is missing. 25.8% of filtration area is missing. So they didn't utilize the whole area of the air box, which is quite disappointing. And on top of that, the volume, the filtration volume, if you look at the OEM filter, it is missing 62.9%. So that's kind of wild. Now, let's talk about the K&N filter. When I first bought the Acura NSX, the seller told me that this was installed. He told me, hey, I just serviced it, which includes the oil and cleaning it and the oil. So I was like, that's exciting. So I left it in there until I did an oil change. And when I removed it, that's kind of when I noticed it. I didn't really think about it because I didn't know the car very well. But when I ordered the OEM one, I saw the big difference and I was like, there's a potential for a video here. So one thing about the K&N filter is when I installed the downforce air scoop and I drove the car, I could hear the suction sound, which was pretty cool. And it's a note that I wanted to take when I was comparing these filters. You could hear the downforce scoop with the K&N air filter. Now the thing about the K&N air filter, it is a serviceable one, so you have to keep track of the oil and you have to clean it, and et cetera, and et cetera. Now I do like K&N. I've purchased their filters for most of my cars. What I don't like is this lazy manufacturing. So that really left an impact for me. All right guys, let's go ahead and move on to the OEM filter. All right, here is our OEM Honda filter. Now guys, I purchased this from a local dealership. It came in, and when I first got it, I was like, this thing is pretty big. I'm like, holy moly. Now the thing about the OEM filter, it is a cotton filter. It is not serviceable. So it's just, you just pop it in there and then you take it out a certain mileage and you discard it. Now, one thing I did notice is that, all right, it's pretty dense, but this is what the manufacturer recommends. So what I did is I installed it in the car and I drove it for a few months. And one thing I instantly recognized was the downforce air scoop sound was gone, like goodbye. And I was like, no, I was like, that's crazy. And it was kind of both, like there was a silver lining. I could hear my exhaust, because I haven't heard my exhaust for a long time, because the scoop is right next to the driver. And like, if you have that suction sound, it kind of mutes the exhaust, not a lot, but a little bit. So when I put this on there, I was like, oh, there's my exhaust sound. But the downforce scoop sound was gone. And for me, I spent some time navigating that scoop in there and then putting the fender liner back and purchasing it and making a video. And I was like, well, that kind of sucks a little bit. So what I did is I drove with it, and guys, I don't know if it's a mental thing. And butt dynos are just so, the ambiguity in it's just crazy. I was driving with the car and I was just like, I don't know if it's less like response, it has less response time with the throttle, or it's just my imagination because of the scoop. But I drove with it, there was really no issues. And I think for the guys out there who don't want to deal with oil, I mean, look at this, guys, look. This Uni filter has been sitting on his bench maybe for 5 or 10 minutes, and it's just like leaking oil out. If you're the type of guys who don't want to deal with all that stuff and all the nonsense with cleaning and keeping up track, this is a really good alternative, or this is a really good choice, because you just drop it in and move on with your life. The only thing is, if you want the downforce air scoop sound, it's gone. And since it's a lot denser, I could see how you could lose maybe a few horsepower, but at the end of the day, I think it's going to be a personal choice if you just don't want to deal with all the nonsense. Well, not nonsense, but all the craziness with the air filters that you have to clean. And we'll talk about that here in a second. All All right, so we're moving on to the UniFilter. So one thing I did recognize about the UniFilter was that it did do the job that K&N failed to do, and that is it filled in the whole area, surface area. Now, it's not as thick as the OEM one, but it's still thicker than the K&N filter as well. The only thing is that the UniFilter is a foam filter. And if you saw our video on what's the best air filter just in general, you know, this filter was originally designed for like dirt bikes and stuff like that. So the technology and the concept has been out there for a long time. A lot of people will stand by it and they say that, you know, it's reusable for many years. My thing is that I like to have some background on it. You know, I've been using K&N for a long time, no issues. I've been using OEM, no issues. So stepping into a new, I'm not gonna say technology, but a new approach towards filtering is, you know, I'm always a little bit hesitant. The reason why is that when I got this filter, you know, I read the instructions, says make sure it's oiled properly. So I emailed the company, and to their defense, I don't know how you can instruct somebody to put a certain amount of oil when it's an aerosol can with the oil. So the oil is sprayed on with the aerosol can. But they ultimately said, don't put too much oil, but don't put too little oil. So I was just like, okay. And somebody like me who has anxiety and OCD and I worry about stuff, I'm like, did I put too much? Did I put too little? And right now, as it's leaking on here, I'm like, did I put too much? But in the end, I didn't put a lot. But let's talk about how it was when I drove with the car. So I installed it. And when I drove the car, I was instantly like, whoa, because you gotta think about where I came from. I just came from the OEM filter. And guys, I could hear that suction sound. It was crazy. Now, I'm not gonna say it was way more than K&N, but I definitely think it's more of a suction sound than K&N with a downforce scoop. So I was like, this is exciting. So the suction sounds really cool. I personally like it a lot. And then at that point in time, I was like, that's really neat. So a lot of suction sound, and I think, you know, the overall idea of the technology of the oil. Now, one thing I did ask him was the question that I think everyone has. Am I going to suck in oil into my engine? Well, they told me, and they sent me a message. They said that the oil is specifically designed to not be sucked in. It's got like some type of, you know, chemical engineering type of things. So that made me feel a little bit better. So that was pretty much my experience with this. You know, greater suction sound, a little bit of like oil drama, but overall, I do like that their design was complete. Okay, so we were cleaning up and I was reinstalling the UniFilter, and when I popped this open, I decided to look in there, and there was quite a bit of oil in there, so I started cleaning up and I was like, I should be videoing this. So what I did is we grabbed the camera, and you could see some of the remnants of the oil, but there was a lot in there. Now guys, I didn't over oil the UniFilter. I took it out of its packaging, and they recommend to do 1 or 2 passes with the aerosol oil, and I did, and there was oil in there. Now what I did is I snuck my head in there. The camera can't get in there, but I snuck my head and looked to see if the throttle body had oil, and it didn't. But I just wanted to mention that. If you guys have UniFilters and when you take it out, do you guys have the oil in there? If not, I recommend to go check it out and see if you do. But regardless, I'm still gonna put this UniFilter in there because we're gonna see how it works. I don't see any oil in the throttle body, but I did wanna give that observation. So which one is the best filter for the Acura NSX? Now, this is gonna be what I'm gonna tell you guys. If you don't want to deal with oil nonsense, and if you just want to, you know, you enjoy your car, it's, you know, you like to enjoy it as it is, you keep it stock, or you know, you don't want to deal with any issues, buy an OEM filter, put it in there, and, you know, just replace it in the intervals that it's recommended by the service manual, and, you know, enjoy your car. Just know that if you have a downforce scoop, it will mute it, and at the end of the day, you know, I don't think you're going to have a problem with that. The K&N filter, guys, I guess I'm a loyalty customer type of guy. If K&N did this filter right, meaning they filled it in correct with the area and the surface and they made it correct, I probably would go with the K&N filter because I've had a lot of experience with them. I know how to clean them, I understand them, and I haven't had any issues. So at the end of the day, I really would have like that, but since it is half done, I don't like that. Another thing is, this could be like a series 1 K&N filter. I did try to do research. I did try to find out if K&N made another air filter, and I just have like the first generation of it. I couldn't find that answer. If you have a different K&N filter, please let me know. But this filter, you know, unfortunately, it just wasn't made correctly in my opinion, so it's not the one I would use. The UniFilter, well, I do like that it was made correctly, and I do like that that the sound is really cool. And I know people usually relate sound or correlate sound with less filtration, but I really think that if what the manufacturers and designers of this filter are saying is true, if the oil actually stays on there and I'm getting that much amount of suction, amount of airflow, then that's a really good combination. My only thing is I really don't like how dirty this is, guys. That is just, I don't like that. But if it's doing its job, I can make up with it. Now, how long am I gonna keep this? This is not something that the manufacturer recommend or maybe a long-time user recommend. This is just me, right? I don't know about this foam material. So, it's not that expensive. I mean, it's not cheap, it's not expensive. As a matter of fact, guys, the OEM filter they're all kind of in the same price range. So I probably wouldn't run this for years and years and years. I'll probably switch this out every year or maybe 2, depending on how I use the car, just so I can make sure that foam doesn't fall apart. I don't know if it falls apart or not, but it's just me being crazy. So anyways, at the end of the day, here's your options. I hope you use this information to pick the one that you have. For now, I'll be using this UniFilter, and then from there, if Canon makes one, I'll probably go with their filter. And if for some reason I just feel like, you know what, I don't care about the downforce scoop anymore, I'll go with OEM for the simplicity. So guys, that concludes our video. I hope you guys found it very helpful. I really had a good time testing them all. I always love to find small differences and nuances when I'm doing these comparison videos or these analytical engineering type of videos. Well guys, I hope you guys are doing well out there. It's starting to get a little cold here in Colorado. I think we're gonna get some snow for the first time. And yeah, I mean, it's more time in the garage, right? Well guys, you stay safe. We'll talk to you soon, and thank you for watching.